everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be diving into the new collection from Wayne Goss. He launched 2 new Veil blush palettes and also 2 new shades in his lipstick. I do want to start this off by saying I did receive this in PR, so Beautylish and Wayne Goss were kind enough to send over the 2 blush palettes and the 2 shades of lipstick. In the video, I will be trying on both of the Veil blush palettes and also both of the shades of the lipstick. And for reference, I am a medium to tan with like a warm undertone. For reference, I will leave a list in the description box down below of popular foundations that I wear and what shades I wear in those foundations, so you guys can kind of get an idea of my complexion, and hopefully you could use that as a reference to see how these apply on my skin. I hope that that information is helpful. Let's go ahead and dive into these new blush palettes. So just in time for the season, new shades of the Weightless Veil blush palette and luxury cream lipsticks that is inspired by blossoming spring blooms. So let's start with Sweet Wildflower. Sweet Wildflower is the dusty rose blush that mimics a healthy flush, while the soft sandy gold highlighter bathes your skin in instant candlelight. Now, both of these Veil blush palettes retail for $45, but you get a lot of product. You get 19 grams worth of product, which is 0.67 ounces. And then we have Desert Bloom. Desert Bloom is described as 2 youth boosting shades of pink. In Wayne's beloved blush and highlighter formulas create a dreamy glow wherever you apply them. So this one is definitely a little bit more on the pink side, and this blush is a little bit on the lighter side. I would recommend this for fair to light medium skin tones. Of course, I will swatch it so you guys can see it. It's definitely a light wash of color. I'm wearing Desert Bloom on this side of the face, and I'm wearing Sweet Blossom on this side of the face. I feel like Sweet Wildflower matches my complexion better. This one is definitely my favorite of the 2. But of course, I will swatch both of these palettes, and I will swatch the blushes next to other blushes and the highlighters next to other highlighters, so you can really see what the shades are. And I will also swatch them under a flash and without a flash, so you can see the undertones in the shades. Let's dive into the 2 shades of the lipstick. So we first have the shade Iris, which is what I'm wearing right now on my lips. These retail for $28 each, and Iris is described as a cool tone medium rose hue to finish off any look. So that is what it is described as. And then we have Poppy, which Poppy is a little bit darker, just a tad bit darker than Iris. Poppy is described as a medium rose shade with warm undertones that stays creamy and comfortable on the lips all day. Now, I will of course swatch these 2 lipstick shades, and I will swatch them next to other shades that I find that might be similar. I don't know that I have a lot of shades that are similar to these, but of course I will go through the collection and I will see what I can find. So that's all the deets on this new collection from Wayne Goss. Let's go ahead and jump into the application, and I'm going to apply all the products on the face. Then we will get into the swatches, and then I will jump into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. So let's go ahead and start with the blush first. I did not put on any contour or bronzer or anything on my face. The only thing I have on my face is foundation and concealer, because I wanted you guys to be able to see the colors of these blushes and highlighters without other tones to kind of mix it up. Same packaging as all of his other blushes. This is Dusty Rose and Honeysuckle. This is Nectar and Petal. So that's Nectar and Petal. So on this side, this is Nectar and Petal, and on this side is Dusty Rose and Honeysuckle. So you can see that they're very similar. The Dusty Rose and Honeysuckle just seem to be a little darker. It seems to be, like, looking at it, that seems to be the differences in the blushes. So this side right here is Nectar and Petal, and this side is Dusty Rose and Honeysuckle. This one has such a rich and beautiful tone in that blush, and I really love the shade of the highlighter. The Nectar and Petal, the highlighter in Petal seems to have that kind of like pinkish tone to it, versus Honeysuckle is a little bit more of a honey, a little bit more of like a yellow base. Of course, I will share swatches of these blushes and the highlighters next to other blushes and highlighters that I have in my collection. This is just kind of a rough draft so you guys can see, you know, what the colors look like. Who doesn't love a new blush? Because I know I do. Woo! I love me some blush. It is nothing short of a miracle, y'all, because I got two clean, identical blush brushes. This is the Refer number 4. By the way, I didn't see that until now. The Nectar and Petal is the Desert Blossom palette. And then the Dusty Rose and Honeysuckle, that is the Sweet Wildflower. But let's first go into the Desert Blossom. So this is a really light color. You can see it's pretty buildable, but it is a very light color, which is what I expected because it does seem like there's a light and more of like a medium to dark palette. So I'm gonna build it up one more time. Yeah, this one's definitely a little bit too light for my complexion. I'm a medium to tan with a golden undertone. I have a suspicion that the Sweet Wildflower is definitely gonna be the palette for my complexion. So I'm gonna take this clean brush and go into Dusty Rose. So it is very buildable. This is built up 3 times and it builds flawlessly, and it does have a little bit of a shine, but it's not too much of a shine, which I appreciate. Once I put on some contour and some bronzer and stuff, it will really kind of make that color pop even more. Okay, so I'm back. I went ahead and put on some bronzer. Let's throw on the highlighter. I'm gonna be using Wayne Goss's artist brushes. They're not numbered, but I'm just gonna use the small, and then I think this is the medium one. So I'm gonna use the smaller one, and I'm gonna go into Petal, and I am going to apply that like right here. So that definitely has that pink base to it. I'm gonna grab this one and I'm gonna go into this color, which is Honeysuckle. I'm gonna tap off. This brush is nice because it doesn't pick up a lot of product. His highlighters are really pretty. There's no doubt about it. They're very, very smooth. I think for me and my complexion, I think this is a great shade. I don't mind the pink one, but I definitely prefer the more yellow one. Okay, so let's go ahead and try on the 2 lipsticks that were launched in this. We have the shade Iris and we have the shade Poppy. So this is the shade Iris. Ooh, that is a really pretty color. Wow. That like matches my shirt so pretty, right? My tank top. That's Poppy and that's Iris. Now they do look very similar, yes, but the difference is Poppy is a little bit darker. Of course, I will swatch these shades so you guys can really see it, and I'll do it with the flash so you can kind of really see the undertone. But that's Iris and that is Poppy. So let's go ahead and put on Poppy. So that's the shade Poppy, and definitely no lip liner needed. It's got great color, great pigment. They're very hydrating. They glide on really well, and I really like this shade. It is really pretty, and it has, on my complexion, it has a little bit more of like a brick undertone, but also mauve at the same time. So it's a really unique color. And off the top of my head, I mean, I'll have to go through, you know, my lipsticks, but off the top of my head, I can't think of one that kind of comes to my mind that this is similar to. So this is a pretty color. I'm really excited about this color. Okay, let's go ahead and put on the shade Iris. Okay, so I just have to say, this is a beautiful shade. And this shade is probably my favorite from Wayne Goss thus far. My other favorite from Wayne Goss is the Camellia. Camellia is beautiful. Dahlia is pretty too, but I love Camellia. So you can see I've used it a ton of times. But this has that perfect like peachy undertone, and I love a peachy nude. I love it on my complexion. Dahlia is pretty too. It is. It's definitely peachy. And, oh, isn't Dahlia pretty? These two are my favorite from Wayne Goss. Like, I love these. But this one takes it to another level. I am loving this shade. So beautiful. I love it. And it's that perfect mauve where it doesn't have too much pink, too much brown, too much purple. Like, it's got a great base to it, but also a really beautiful mauve tone. And I'm here for it. This is really pretty. So we're done trying on all the products. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches. And I'm going to swatch the two palettes and the two lipsticks. And each image, I will also share that with a flash. I do with and without a flash so that you can really see the undertone of the color. The flash kind of brings out the undertones in shades. So just be on the look for that. There will be two images of the same swatches, like the sets of swatches, but they just have with a flash and without a flash. And then we will jump into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so I do hope that those swatches and comparisons were helpful for you. Let me go ahead and get into my final thoughts. I think my favorite thing out of all four of these is the shade Iris. I love this lipstick shade. It is so beautiful, and I am into those like mauve-y kind of colors, so this is just perfect for the spring coming up. And his lipsticks are very, very comfortable, and they have that hydrating look to them. It's just so beautiful, and I'm so excited about that shade Iris. Oh, it's so pretty. Now, as far as the blush palettes, like I mentioned in the intro, I love this Sweet Wildflower. In fact, I think this might be my new favorite from Wayne Goss. I do have the other blush palettes, which you saw in the swatches, but I feel like this one is that healthy glow. It's just that flush of color where it's not too much color. It's not too harsh on the skin. I mean, you can see I didn't even have to powder this. Like, a lot of the times I can get heavy-handed with blush, right? We all know that. I'm a heavy-handed blush girl. And I will go over with a brush like Mel, our sweet Mel, taught us how to do. In fact, I think she learned the technique from Wayne. If I'm not mistaken, I think she learned the technique from Wayne. But anyway, you take a powder brush, you dip it into powder, you buff it all over the skin, and you can kind of buff out the harsh lines around, you know, your bronzer and blush and all of that. So typically I do that because I can get heavy-handed and it just kind of softens it all up. But I don't even feel like I need to do that. These apply very, very soft. I don't feel like the formula is any different than his other blushes. They're just not as pigmented as you might be used to. If you're used to dipping into a powder blush and getting instant pigment, that's not how these are. These are definitely more buildable. They're not super, super strong or intense or anything like that. And I think you're only going to be able to build these so far. I think this one, it does have a nice undertone to it. And it has that really pretty shine to it, which is what I really, really love about this blush. Actually, they both do. They both have, in fact, I think all of his blushes have that really pretty kind of shine to them. This one is Sweet Blossom. You can see that right here on the finger, it just has that shine, right? And it comes across on the skin super, super soft. My suggestion is if you're someone that likes to pack a punch with your blush, these are probably not going to be for you. But if you like a very light wash of blush, you will love this formula. He does have other shade combinations, so if these two shades are really not going to work for you, you can check out his other shades. For me, this would be a type of formula that I would reach for when I do want a light wash. When I want something that's much more pigmented, of course, I will grab something that's much more pigmented and much more punchy, right? So that's it, you guys. Sound off down below in the comment section. Have any of you guys picked up these new products from Wayne Goss? If you have, share with us in the comment section down below your experience. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.